just looking around, this is just an awesome, awesome tribute to Tina and my son Tom. I did see, as I looked around, originally some look of disappointment when I was up here, and the rumor got out that the Pope was coming to give the address. However, you people all know he rides in a Fiat, and he's somewhere on the Pennsylvania Turnpike now, so he's not going to make it, so you got me. So, anyway, and for Tina, Tom, Justin, Jordan, and Mike, I'd like to thank you all for coming here this evening. It just speaks wonders of the people that they were, the kids are, and also what a legacy Tom and Tina have left. Two wonderful, wonderful sons who are as caring as they can possibly be. It's more about them caring about other people than themselves, and I think that's super special. And the other thing that Justin wanted me to mention, there's a memory book here that's floating around. It'll be over on the memory table. Any special stuff that you remember about anything, write it in there. And also on your table, there's some stones that as you think of things, put it on that too. It would mean a lot to everybody. So the other thing is how Tom and Tina also cared about other people. It reflected as how you people are here tonight. And what I would like you to do, there's some people probably you've never seen before, but they're all drawn together because of Tina. So if you'd introduce yourself to each other, I think it'd be the start of a special relationship. So if you could do that, it'd be wonderful. The other thing is, I'm prone sometimes to speak a little longer than I should, but I think Justin said 3 to 5 minutes. Is anybody timing me at all? So I just, if not, and then I think a lot of you know that I spent some time with Tina enjoying refreshments. She loved Malibu and Diet. And so I asked her why. And she said the reason is I can drink a lot of it before I get silly. So anyway, later on tonight, Michael's going to do a toast, but I'm going to do something special right now for Tina and I. And by the way, the inspiration for this came from my son Tom. Purple was his favorite color. And today I was wandering around our house and I found that, and next to it was a bottle of Malibu. So if you don't mind, here's to you, Tina. And once again, thanks for everyone coming, and enjoy the evening.
It's tempting up here with the Malibu, I tell you. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Justin, Jordan, and Mike for giving me the opportunity to speak. It is a tremendous honor and a huge challenge to find the right words in the celebration of Tina's life. I'm at peace. No, those aren't my words, but Tina's words. Those were the words she wrote to us Saturday night at the Cleveland Clinic to let us know how she was feeling. Those were the words that she wrote using her left hand since she could no longer use her right hand. Though she couldn't speak the words, they still sent a powerful message. Watching her write those words exemplified Tina. There was no quitting, and giving up wasn't an option. Though the words were a little comforting to know that's how she felt, it was still difficult to stand there and know that in a few days, she probably wouldn't be with us. It seemed like she could write for days, sharing memories and some last-minute reminders. She wrote, Take care of my boys and baby girl, Aubrey. Whatever you kids need, we will be here for you. I can't even begin to assemble the words that would describe your mom's love for you. She was very proud of you too. She was truly special to many people. It was amazing to see the strength your mom displayed, as well as the courage that you two have displayed. She also wrote, "Give your boys a hug and tell them I love them." She was always thinking of others. Tina touched many lives over the years and created a lot of memories that won't be forgotten. 4 years old. That was another note Tina wrote to me, reminding me that we've known each other since we were 4 years old. It was amazing to think how sharp her mind and memory were, and inspiring to see the effort she put into every last word and thought. Tina and I grew up across the street from each other and spent a lot of time together as kids. Across the street was a makeshift baseball field where we spent many days playing baseball. I think back on those days now. I think that baseball field was a field of dreams, creating a friendship that would last forever. Tina liked to tell the story about playing baseball, and when she came up to bat, all the players in the field, including myself, would sit on her gloves and call her automatic out. When she reminded me of the nickname, we would laugh, and I doubted that I ever calling her automatic out, since it seemed so cruel some 40 years later. Unfortunately for Tina, the game of life was much different than those baseball games as kids, and it didn't seem fair. If Tina would step to the plate today, it wouldn't be me or another neighborhood kid pitching to her, but maybe Nolan Ryan, and he's getting ready to throw a fastball. Knowing Tina, she wouldn't be afraid, and I can imagine her digging in and getting ready to take a rip at Nolan's best fastball. Tina loved the challenge, and she wouldn't back down to anything. One thing for certain, she was no automatic out in the game of life. She was a fighter and didn't shy away from the challenge. It's hard to put the last year in perspective. I was reminded that one of the biggest internet crazes last year was the Ice Bucket Challenge. If you don't remember the Ice Bucket Challenge, you would dump a bucket of ice water on your head or make a donation to promote awareness of ALS. My sons and I did the challenge without knowing how close it would hit to home 1 year later. It's hard not to imagine maybe doing something different that would have made a difference in Tina's life. I think there was a lesson in that Ice Bucket Challenge, a lesson of helping others and trying to make a difference in other people's lives like Tina did in all of our lives. It was 1 year ago that we went to Nashville with a group of friends for a weekend of fun. Getting off the bus from a Nashville city tour, Tina slipped and fell. Once we realized she was okay, we had a laugh and thought maybe it was the heels she was wearing or maybe a cocktail or two that may have thrown her balance off a bit. It may have been the first sign of what the next year would hold for her. You know how Tina liked the challenge. Well, the girls challenged each other to see who could ride a mechanical bull the longest. I still remember Tina riding that bull and not having a clue what the next year would be for her. After continuing problems with her foot, a month or two later, a doctor told her she had a foot fracture and put her in a walking boot. But little did we know the real problem. Well, from a foot fracture to MMN to Guillain-Barré, and maybe some other diagnoses I missed in between, things seemed to keep taking a turn for the worse. All Tina was hoping for was a correct diagnosis so she could begin treatments and beat whatever it was that was damaging her body. Through all of this, Tina never complained. After the doctors at U of M told her she had ALS, she went to the Cleveland Clinic for a second opinion, which brings us here tonight. I'd like to think that maybe it was a spark in her not wanting to believe the doctors at U of M, but she was a fighter and fought to the very end. What a difference a year makes. So it goes without saying that I've been asking myself, and I'm sure you have been as well, why? Why Tina? I think back about everything her and the boys went through when Tom passed away. What a devoted wife, mother, and a true inspiration. I can only guess that God must have a much greater need for Tina in heaven than on earth. Maybe it was so she could be reunited with Tom. I'm not sure we'll ever know, or if it'll ever make sense. I consider the title WTF for this speech. It could have been the most appropriate or inappropriate title for the speech, depending on the interpretation. I thought WTF would be appropriate, but with a different meaning. Why the frown, or way too fast? This is a celebration of Tina's life, and she's watching over us to make sure it's a celebration. Tina always had the unique ability to walk into a room and make people smile and laugh. It's hard to ever picture her without a smile on her face. She was such a courageous person and had the mentality that she could handle anything and beat anything. It was hard to see how the past year treated such a wonderful person, but she never complained and battled to the end. It seemed like the biggest break that Tina got the past few years was when she met Mike. I didn't really know Mike at the time, but I heard good things about him, and if Tina was dating him, I'm sure he was a good guy. As their relationship grew, it was good to see Tina happy and what Mike meant to her. Mike, good doesn't describe you. You're a great guy. All of the positive characteristics Tina had, you have as well. Tina was an angel to us, and you were an angel to her. You had mentioned that you had met a lot of new friends through Tina. Well, all of Tina's friends made a great friend in you. Thank you for all the love and happiness you gave Tina the past couple of years. Justin and Jordan, it goes without saying that you boys have experienced more in your lifetime than many of us here tonight. Your mom and dad did an incredible job of raising you two. Their legacy will continue through you. Your mom wrote me a note saying to take care of my boys. I will always be here for you, and this room full of people will be here for you as well. Again, she was very proud of you two boys. It was amazing to see the courage and composure you have displayed the past years, and especially the past few weeks. The coming days, months, and years will present challenges, but I'm sure that you will tackle those challenges much like your mom and dad. I hope it will provide you peace to know that they are always watching over you, and I'm sure they're smiling. I could stand here all night and read off words that describe Tina. I had mentioned earlier how Tina loved a challenge. I'm sure some of you have heard stories or witnessed in person Tina being challenged to do something, such as a cartwheel, a backflip, climbing a statue, or even riding a mechanical bull. No, I'm not going to challenge you to do any of those things, but I challenge you to live your life like Tina lived her life. A life of devotion, love, caring, courage, and being unselfish. Though we lost a dear friend, I feel like we have an angel in heaven looking over us. Sadly, Tina is gone, but she will never be forgotten and remembered. She's at peace.
Most of you probably already know who we are, but for those of you who don't, I'm Donna.
I'm Holly.
And I'm Renee.
And we've had the privilege and the honor of having our spunky, beautiful Tina to be our best friend over 30 plus years, and we just wrote a little poem about her. And just remember, we're from a small town. Okay, here it goes. Our bond was formed as sophomores in 1982. It was Chesney High School. That's where our friendship grew. Mischief and mayhem during lunchtime, and Tina with all of her spunk, Mrs. Schroeder holding her stop sign, and the three of us in Donna's trunk. High school fun, silly and sweet, fixing our IDs to dance to that Micah TMB. So many memories to laugh about. If there was trouble, we would find it, no doubt. Cruising town, chasing boys, canoeing on the river, oh, so many joys. Oh, come on, who are we kidding? Out in the cornfield drinking beers, laughing so hard it left us in tears. Budweiser, Boone's Farm, and MD 2020. Bernita D, Betty, and Marge, They didn't think it was funny. With so many pranks and a lot of laughter, a lifelong bond soon formed after. All of our shenanigans and gags galore make us miss the memories so much more. There came a time when we had to part. Marriage and kids, we had a life to start. Busy lives, but not forgotten friends. Our special connection never ends. Just a phone call away for a night or a day is all it would take for the four of us to get away.
When tragedy hit our family, we were there for each other, or her family, I'm sorry. We planned lots of things to do to comfort one another, from Grand Rapids to Detroit, our hometown too, Mexican Nashville, and many concerts. Woo! Fun times that we had can never be replaced. We will keep you by our side with a cardboard cutout in your place. The perfect mix of witty, smart, and kind. You were the best friend we could possibly find. Your fun-loving and carefree spirit, everyone loved to be near it. Everywhere you went, you smiled, or your smile would light up a room. Without it, a certain sadness would loom. The lifetime bond we formed surely will not sever, and the love we feel for you will be with us forever. As our hearts break and our tears flow, you will be missed more than you'll know. We gathered around your bedside to love you near the end. You wrote, I miss you already. You are my three best friends.
On the day of our final goodbye, you could not let old dogs lie. With our tears a-flowing, as your breath sank, you found a way to pull just one last prank. Me, the butt of your joke, making me think that I made you choke. To see that last smile on your sweet face was worth your making my heart race. As we sit and wonder why life is so unfair, the reason that he took you, only God is aware. You also wrote that our pyramid is broken, but memories of you will not go unspoken. Because our pyramid of four always will remain, thinking of you often is what will keep us sane. To carry on without you, we are not sure how. One comfort that we have is that you're at peace now. Justin and Jordan were your two greatest gifts. That they carry on your legacy is how our spirit lives. When we are unsure, we will always think of you, referring to the question, what would Tina do? Our time was filled with laughter as we went through the years, but for now anyways, we are left with many tears. As you wrote on the paper the last day that we saw you, I'm never going to see you again, the 4 is now 3. Wait for us, we'll see you, in heaven is where we'll be.
I'm actually going to be rapping my speech. Kyler, can you drop a beat for me? No. Just kidding. To start, I want to thank everyone who has made it tonight and to everyone who has reached out a helping hand to Justin and I in these horrible last few weeks. It means the world to the two of us to know how many people would drop everything to be here for us. My mom and dad would be happy to know that our family extends further than just relation. Am I loud enough? Knowing my mom, I know that she would want us all to laugh and smile for the times we all shared, because after all, this is a celebration of her life. And we all know she had a lot of that. So as much as I want to talk about how unfair it is that the most amazing woman I'll ever know has left us at such a young age, I'm not going to, because tonight is for remembering the good times. So as I look out, I want to see everyone sporting a beautiful Tina Schultz-like smile. That being said, I want to share a few memories I have with my beautiful mother. My first memory involves my first of many trips to the ER, which was practically my second home growing up. As my mom said, I was a little shit most of the time. So my brother was about 6, and I was about 3, and he was really sick with strep throat. So my mom had to call into the hospital to let them know she was bringing him in. As she was on the phone telling them Justin's situation, here I was running around a table, and right as she hung up the phone, I tripped over my own feet and smashed my head on the coffee table. And so she was able to get the 2-for-1 deal at the local You can only imagine the doctor's face when he walked into 2 different rooms and my mom was in both. My next memory is of all the times she would remind me that I was her baby boy. Constantly, she would say in this little voice that only she could do, "My baby!" Even in the hospital, she had to make it clear to all the doctors and nurses that I was her baby. She had a million other things to think about, but she was still thinking about that. I used to act like it would annoy me, but to be honest, I'm gonna miss it. She never failed to put a smile on my face. It was impossible to have a bad day on her watch. Sorry. Another memory that I love telling is of when I would throw tantrums as a kid, and on occasion, just to cause a scene, I would cry and scream that I was going to run away. More evidence of me being a little shit. But of course, my mom, my dad, and Justin all knew it wasn't going to happen. Justin probably wished it did. So one of these times, I said to my mom, "I'm packing, I'm going." And so my mom said back to me, "Okay, let's pack." And she literally packed my bags for me. I never stepped foot out of the house that day because I was so mad and I knew I'd lost. All of these memories have one clear theme. My mom was an amazing mother. For being so short, she sure set the bar so high. But really, she showed Justin and I what love is supposed to look like. Whether that was her love for us, her love for our dad, or her love for Mike. Or her love for friends and family. She loved everyone unconditionally and would go above and beyond for us and ask for nothing in return. The one thing I will always admire about my mom is how she never judged us for the decisions we made. She would take the back seat when we made mistakes, which we made a lot. She would always be there to help us learn from them, instead of forcing us to do or act ways we didn't want to. We had an open relationship with her and always knew that she would love us the same no matter what. That is something I know Justin and I will carry on with our kids and grandkids. She wasn't just an amazing mother, wife, and girlfriend. She was an amazing friend as well. She may have been small, but her heart certainly wasn't. She opened her arms to anyone, no matter what walk of life. She didn't care. She knew that everyone has a different story, including herself, and she respected and loved her friends for who they are and were. She embraced the attitude that life is short, so why not run with it and make as many meaningful relationships as possible. So I know a lot of people want to help Justin and I, and we do actually have one thing we would like to ask of everyone. Call up a friend that maybe you've lost touch with, or maybe you've just got so caught up in life that you haven't made time. Whatever the reason, we want you to make concrete plans with them and just relax and enjoy each other's company, because you never know what could happen. Life is more fragile than you think. Moving forward without my mom and dad is going to be the biggest challenge of mine and Justin's lives. The things that we learn from them will shine bright through our journey of life. ALS and MS may have taken them from this world, but nothing will ever take them from our hearts. Justin and I were dealt a pretty bad hand, but we were going to take our chances and go all in anyways. Rest in peace, Mom and Dad. It's for the greatest 19 years a kid could ask for.
Good evening, everyone. First off, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It's been great hearing about all the amazing relationships my mom had with all of you. I know all of these relationships and memories she has will help Jordan and I grieve. My mom was truly remarkable, and I am happy we were all able to come together tonight to celebrate her life. It is going to be hard to not see her bright smile tonight, or hear her laugh from across the room. But she is here in spirit. I can see a piece of her in everyone in this room tonight, and I am grateful that she could leave so many wonderful relationships for Jordan and I to inherit. However, one thing that is hard not to think about is how unlucky our family has been. ALS and MS, what are the chances? When my dad passed away, I had my whole life to prepare for him leaving. It was the reality I grew up with. Although it was far from easy, I prepared myself daily for the day when he passed away. How I grieved was thinking that this was a big struggle that I would have to face in my life. I thought after losing him, the rest of my life would be easy and go as planned. I definitely did not worry about anything happening to my mom. She was too full of life and already had been through so much herself. From the moment she got sick to the moment she left us, I could never comprehend it. And standing up here tonight, I still can't comprehend it. How can someone so smart, funny, accepting, caring, and selfless leave us so young? If your life was measured on the impact you had on others, she would have lived longer than all of us. Somehow she managed to be the best friend, cousin, sister, daughter, girlfriend, wife, and definitely mom that we all knew. She made us feel as if we were across the planet and just needed her for a hug. She'd be there. A few days after my mom had passed away, I was talking to my girlfriend Aubrey about my mom. And Aubrey said something that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. She said it was almost as if Tina knew she was dying because of how perfectly she lived her life. Can't stop thinking about how true that statement was. Because she wasn't just perfect when she started to get sick. She's been perfect my whole life. I could stand up here all night reading off qualities my mom possessed that made her so perfect. But instead I want to share Long story short, on our way back from the game, we stopped for food, and the Game Boy ended up in a bag that was thrown away at a gas station. We didn't realize it was gone until the morning, and I was devastated. So that night, my mom drove us back down to Detroit and spent her whole night digging through the gas station dumpster with a flashlight until she found the Game Boy. The last week she was in the hospital, I was thinking about this story and couldn't believe she would go through all that for a Game Boy. The next morning when I went into her room, I reminded her about that story. She responded to the story by writing that she did it because she loved me. I couldn't hold the tears back in my eyes because I knew shortly I would no longer have a person who would spend their whole night in a dumpster just to keep me from being sad. When my mom and dad started to think about having kids, my dad had already been diagnosed with MS. They decided to discuss the possibility of having kids with one of my dad's doctors. He advised them to not have kids due to the prognosis of my dad's condition. My parents discussed his opinion, but in the end, they obviously decided to prove the doctor wrong and be the best parents they could be. The decision was exceptionally admirable of my mom, because she knew she would have to take a majority of the physical burden of raising kids. I hope everyone agrees that they did a pretty damn good job. And I'm happy to say that they proved the doctor wrong and were able to go above and beyond on being the best parents they could be. I know everyone in this room knows that my mom was the best caregiver my dad could have possibly had. But I do not think anyone besides Jordan and I truly know how remarkable her care for him was. Since he couldn't move, there was always a huge concern for him getting bed sores. For years, my mom would wake up multiple times every night just to reposition my dad so he could be comfortable. On a good night, she'd get 4 hours of sleep. But every morning, she would be up to get Jordan and I ready for school with a smile on her face. The weekend would roll around and my mom would cook a huge meal for all my dad's friends so they could come over and play cards and watch football. This was just another example of how selfless she really was. And she made sure my dad was going to be surrounded by his friends for his final years and put his friendships above hers. My mom continued for years to put us all ahead of herself, and we never heard a complaint. She even pushed herself so hard that a few times she was hospitalized for exhaustion. But she never slowed down. Even in the face of exhaustion, because her love for me, Jordan, and my dad ran so deep. I remember after my dad passed away, the doctor told me that my mom added years to my dad's life. Considering all of my mom's accomplishments during her life, I think that has to be her greatest. She was able to give Jordan and I our dad for as long as physically possible. And words cannot. Being the best mom she could be. One night I remember asking her why I rarely saw her cry anymore about my dad. She told me she cried every day over my dad, but hated to do it in front of Jordan and I because she didn't want to make us sad too. I had no idea she had been trying so hard to hold it in so Jordan and I didn't have to see her like that. But this was the epitome of my mom's personality. She'd rather take all of the burden just so she could protect Jordan and I from any pain. When my mom met Mike, it wasn't easy for me to accept my mom being with someone other than my dad. I did not want to accept it. I wanted to be selfish and have my mom to myself my whole life. I thought I could take care of her and she didn't need anyone else. My mom could have easily been mad at me and could have told me to deal with it. And I probably deserved that. But my mom and Mike handled it with such grace and patience. I will forever regret how I acted at the start of their relationship, and for that, Mike, I want to apologize. A few months ago, I was starting to think about what I would say if you guys got married. I never would have imagined I would be saying this instead. This last year, and especially the week before my mom passed away, I couldn't imagine anyone taking care of my mom better than you did, including myself. I never saw any sign of impatience or frustration from you. It reminded me of how well my mom took care of my dad. And that is the biggest compliment I could ever give you. And at the end of all of this, you were able to tell me that you were happy that my mom got to go be with my dad. And that meant the world to me. I also want to tell you that one of the last days with my mom, I told her something I should have told her a long time ago. I told her I was okay with her loving you and my dad. I know it wasn't easy to deal with at times, and I know you never would have expected your relationship with my mom to end so quickly. But I know you would do it all over again because of how special of a person my mom was. And I'm happy you made it last few years so special. Besides Jordan and I, there is one other person who had an idea of the difficulties my mom faced day to day when we were growing up, but they're not in this room. This person was my dad. And I know he'd be sad that he can't be up here tonight to talk about how special of a person my mom was, and how much he appreciated all that she did for him. But I was able to find a letter my dad wrote to my mom for her to read after he passed away. So tonight for him, I want to read a portion of it. Tina, you are a special person. If it weren't for you, I would have not been able to make it nearly as long as I did. You made it better for me physically and more so mentally, often at your own expense. I don't know how I got so lucky to have such a beautiful person as my wife. I love you. You're the most caring person I know. Many people take advantage of your kindness, but your kindness is what makes you so special. Our boys have one awesome mother. I know you're concerned they won't have a father figure, but they already have the best mom in the world, so they're going to be fine. I know my dad would have never expected that we'd also lose my mom only a few years after him. But I want them to both know that we'll be okay. I know it will be hard to understand why neither of them are here when we are having a bad day and we do anything in the world just to talk to them. It's going to be hard trying to understand why our kids won't be able to meet the best grandparents they could have dreamed of. And it's going to be hard to be happy when anything exciting happens in our lives, because at the same time, we'll just wish they were here. But I want them to know that they were able to teach us everything we needed to know about life in a shorter period of time than any other parents could have. I want to let them know that I will be there for Jordan. And I know Jordan will be there for me. And that because of how they treated all of you, that you will all be there for us too. Jordan and I will be fine, and we will continue to make you proud. We love you both so much. We will always carry you with us in our hearts. Thank you.
The best way to toast Tina really is through all of you. I read a lot of the Facebook posts that have come in over the past several weeks. So there were so many, I had to be somewhat selective, and I thought these were the ones that described her the best. So toast to Tina. It doesn't matter if you knew Tina for 5 minutes or your whole life. She made everyone feel like they were the most special person on earth. To the most courageous, selfless, amazing person I have ever known. So beautiful on the inside and on the outside. Kind-hearted with a great sense of humor. Someone who will always love you either near or far apart. You taught me that life won't always be easy, that there will be many bumps along the way. You've been a wonderful example of grace, love, kindness, courage, and strength. Your inspiring, positive attitude, your smile, your kindness, and big heart, always making sure everyone is okay. You're a rock and a true inspiration to me and everyone. One of my personal favorites here. Thank you for treating me like a son of your own, making those bomb dinners, all those family vacations, and pretty sure I may have even lived at your house more than mine some of those years. You were an angel while you were here with us on earth, and now you have graced God with your love. You will be missed, but never forgotten. And finally, a toast of my own. So if I can have you raise your glass. To Tom and Tina for raising two wonderful sons. You guys know that you'll never be alone. Your mom and dad will always be with you in spirit, and the collective we will always be here for you in support. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, in closing, I'm going to wrap this up. Tina asked me not to remember her while she was ill, but rather remember her in good health and all the great times we had. But honestly, my favorite memory is how she battled this illness. Her courage, strength, her positive outlook throughout this past year. How she smiled with us, she cried with us, she joked with us that final weekend. How she wrote her final goodbyes. If I can only have half the courage and strength that she did. Definitely an incredible woman, mother, and all I can say is I was a very lucky man. We love you, Tina. We will miss you. You will always be in our hearts and souls forever, and until we meet again. I have one last request. Let's enjoy the evening, and let's celebrate the way Tina would want us to celebrate. Just a smile on her face and a drink in her hand.